I like to use the term brains are like fingerprints. So there's no one, that's why we use fingerprints as identification. There's no one brain that is alike for many of the reasons that we talked about last week with communication and bias, as well as what I'm proposing today with our passions and how we see the world and how we show up and communicate. And with that, I also want to make a point that every single perspective is real. And I put quotes around real because to that individual, that is their truth. Whether that's a reality that another person shares doesn't necessarily matter. So an example of this is I work a lot of times with kids with autism who have pretty vivid imaginations. And oftentimes they will say things that are pretty wild. And so it's not a matter of me trying to change their reality and tell them how they're wrong, but more a matter of how beautiful would it be for me to understand more of that imaginative world so that I can see how their brain processes or how they interact with the world around them based on these imaginary worlds that are going on in their head. And just to clarify, with individuals with autism, the imagination is quite vivid, and oftentimes I always call it this very gray line. There's very little awareness to what is actually real versus what is not real. And so, you know, this would apply with somebody with schizophrenia as well. They're very uniquely different, but I give that perspective because if somebody is showing up with schizophrenia and they're saying all these quotes or phrases and things, and we're like, whoa, that's a totally different reality. Yes, but that reality is real for them. And so it's, again, neurodiversity is kind of the foundation of understanding that every single person has a unique perspective, and understanding that perspective is valuable because we learn more and more about one another, about humanity, and how different brains work in different ways. And again, the assumptions, when we make those assumptions, we miss those opportunities, which often result in those disconnections.